in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. After what had seemed an eternity of an off-season, we are back here on the Hersheys Sports Channel, ready to begin off the new seasons of the 3 Coors Series on this channel, the Tax Slayer Truck Series, Pizza Hut X Series, and Hersheys Cup Series. And we kick things off here tonight, beginning Daytona Speed Weeks with the 5th annual running of the Clash at Daytona. 24 laps of racing, 16 drivers have locked themselves into the field here tonight by having a pole position during the course of last season. And tonight, there are no points on the line. It's go for broke, bragging rights, and of course, a very important purse at the end for the winner of this event. We have 2 former winners of this event that are in this field here tonight. Driver who won the 2nd ever Clash at Daytona, that being former champion Anthony McCrory, and the defending winner of this event is in this field here tonight as well, winning last season's Clash. Keith Batson in the 39 is also in tonight's starting lineup. So will we see our very first 2-time Clash winner here this evening? Only time will tell. But we have a lot of different things here and a lot of things that have stayed the same. Some drivers have gone to a new manufacturer. Some drivers have gone to a new team. Some drivers have a new sponsor. There's a lot of drivers where nothing really has changed. And we do have a driver that has changed their name. Starting off tonight in the 3rd position is the driver, the number 70. Now, formerly we referred to her as Kat Tellier, but during the off-season on Halloween of 2017, she and Keith Batson tied the knot, and so for this season and following seasons, we will be referring to her as Kat Batson. So want to wish Keith and Kat congratulations on that, and they will be taking to the track here this season as a husband and wife duo in their Lincoln Continental. So we'll see how they will do, and both of them are in the field here tonight. Would love to start off the season with a win in the Clash. We, of course, also have a number of drivers that are debuting the brand new Chevrolet Camaro. We'll have to see how the Camaros stack up against the SS's in this race, but for now, it's time to get those most famous words.
Drivers, start your engines!
As the command is given, it's time to give you guys your first starting lineup of the season, and you'll be getting it verbally this time rather than having to look down into the description. Starting on the pole, for Tweenix Racing, the number 31 is going to be Dylan Poteet. He made his way in having poles at Arizona and Chicagoland last season. Former champion of the series, Kyle Matthews, lines up to his outside in the 09. He had poles last year at Rockingham, North Carolina and Michigan. Kat Batson rolls off 3rd. She had pole at Daytona, Las Vegas, and DuQuoin last season. And the defending champion of the series, Trent Dunham, he is going to roll off 4th. He had 5 poles last year at FTF, Springfield, DuQuoin, Bristol Dirt, and Lime Rock. 3 dirt tracks that the eventual champion had poles at. James McLeod's in row 3. He had a pole at Kansas as well as one at the 2nd Daytona race. And alongside of him, former champion Anthony McCrory, who had poles at Rio and M&M's. Starting 7th, now in the number 38, Jake Baskinger for Flying Aces Racing. He had pole positions at Dover, Thornton, and Homestead last year, and rolling off 8th is Dallas McIntosh, who had poles at Talladega and Phoenix. Then it's Cole Baker 9th. Baker had a pole at Atlanta last season, and Kev Shearer rolls off 10th. Kev had a pole at Darlington. Keith Batson in the number 39 rolls off 11th. Keith had poles at Eldora and Indianapolis, and alongside of him in 12th is going to be Emmanuel Hartnett. Hartnett had a pole at Bristol. I will fill you in on the other remaining 4 drivers in just a moment, but the pace car is ready to peel off, and it's time for the first time this season to have those most famous words. Green flag is out at Daytona. Let's roll! And the other drivers that are rolling off 13 through 16, Jessica Shelton in the 02. She had pole at Pikes Peak. Dylan Young rolls off 14. He had a pole at Infineon. And in the final row, Daniel Gilbert in the 4, who had a pole at Oswego and Talladega, the second Talladega race. And final position, the 59 of Zachary Fitzwater. He had pole positions at Watkins Glen and Hillside, as the battle may be on for the lead here, and Pat Batson looking to the bottom on Dylan Poteet, but couldn't quite get there. That drafting help from Anthony McCurry. Meanwhile, former champions Kyle Matthews, Trent Dunham up topside. And in this field, we have, I believe, 3 of the former champions of this series in this field. That is indeed the case. Chris Dodd in the 88 did not qualify for the Clash, and Matt Haas does not have a Hersheys Cup Series ride this season, as he is running full-time this year in the Tax Slayer Truck Series. Lead change, and it's Cat Batson to the race lead. I am going to say the disclaimer right now. I probably, in certain races, will not have the mental memory in my mind to remember to say Cat Batson all the time. I will probably, at some point, make the mistake and go back to calling her Cat Tellier, so I apologize if I end up doing that. I will be trying my best to remember it as Cat Batson. Maybe if I say it like the first few races, it'll stick in my head. Speaking of stuck, the driver is stuck, lost the draft early, and that's the 83 of Emmanuel Hartnett. You see him way back there. That actually looks like that could be a mechanical problem. He has lost touch with the field so quickly. 3 wide for the lead. That's Dallas McIntosh to the front. Like I said, a number of drivers running Chevy Camaros here tonight, so we'll see how the Camaros stack up to the SS's. And right now, all the Camaros up near the front. You've got the 14 and the 1, teammates out of Sega Motorsports, and not too far back is the Outback Steakhouse number 4 of Daniel Gilbert out of Michael Norman Motorsports. There are 4 Camaros in this field, including the 59 of Zachary Fitzwater, and right now the Camaros looking good. Teammates out in front, McIntosh in the 14, Dunham in the 1. The team coming off a championship year with Trent Dunham winning the championship. And you know, I mentioned this in the starting lineup, but it kind of was nonchalantly. It's kind of interesting. You look at the year Trent Dunham had last season, 2 wins, 7 top 5s, 15 top 10s, an average finishing position of 15th place, and of course, pretty much dominated in the season finale as far as taking the championship. But you look as well, he had the league-leading 5 poles that year. The next closest was 3 poles, which I believe was Joshua Michaels and Dylan, or I'm sorry, not Joshua Michaels, I'm sorry, Jake Baskinger had, as well as somebody else had 3, Cat Tellier. And, I mean, that's just almost unheard of. So I think that we can safely say that Trent Dunham, a lot of his success last season, could even have stretched as far as to good qualifying results. As there's another of the Camaros I mentioned, that's Daniel Gilbert in the 4. Not surprising to see him out in front here at Daytona. As a matter of fact, Daniel Gilbert, one of his 2 wins last season, came at FTF Super Speedway. The other one actually came at another track that's very speed reliant, and that's Indianapolis. Anthony McCurry there in second, and battle on for third. They're starting to lose touch with the top 2. Speaking of losing touch, we already saw Emmanuel Hartnett has lost the draft. Looks like as well Cole Baker in the United States Navy Chevrolet is losing the draft. And there's that lone Blue Devils Toyota, and even just looking at him here, he looks really, really slow. I think there's something maybe wrong under the hood of that 83. He might be down a cylinder. The good news for Emmanuel Hartnett is, though, there's no points on the line. There's no, getting into the chase on the line or anything like that. This is a non-points event. It's a showcase for fans to be able to see some of the brand new schemes of the season, drivers in new places, new faces, and just see some good racing with drivers having the pressure alleviated off of them of having to think about the fact that points are on the line. They don't have to worry about that. It's Trent Dunham there trying to get to the inside of Anthony McCrory. Trent Dunham coming into this season with all the momentum in the world as defending champion, but I think he would have rathered that we started out the season at another track other than Daytona. Now, Trent and Daytona have a bit of a love-hate relationship. During the Daytona 500 weekend, it seems like nothing goes right for him. When we come back here in the summer, though, usually he does a lot better. But with this being the Daytona 500 weekend, we'll have to see if he can turn the curse around. Now, Trent Dunham on this channel is a former Daytona 500 winner back in, I believe it was season 10 of the now retired Snickers Cup Series. But he has yet to take a checkered flag in the Hersheys Cup Series in the Daytona 500. Gilbert still out in front. Dylan Pote kind of faded back after starting on the pole, and now he's fighting his way back up towards the front of the field, hooked up there with good buddy Trent Dunham, and right behind them you've got Jake Baskinger now in the number 38, making the move from the 5 over to the 38 ride. Flying Aces Racing's only representative in this field. We'll be seeing his other teammates during the course of this weekend during Speed Weeks. John Arndt still in the 05 and bringing up rookie and former Pizza Hut X Series champion Benny Watson to the number 24. Another driver that's making some strides to the front just took the 4th position from Baskinger, and that's Jessica Shelton. Jessica Shelton, very well-known restrictor plate racer, and so no surprise seeing her fighting her way to the front of the field here. Very often the drafting help there, and now they're going to battle for 4th place, and Kat Batson going to go to the inside as well as Trent Dunham begins to forage towards the front, trying to run down fellow Chevy Camaro Daniel Gilbert, who for the moment has been able to do a pretty good job of controlling the draft, making sure neither line inside nor outside gets a big run on him. Daniel Gilbert, coming off a career year, finished 8th overall in the standings, 2 wins, 6 top 5s, 8 top 10s, was the only representative for Michael Norman Motorsports in the playoffs last season. And he's going to have his hands full in just a moment. Well, I thought he was going to, but now Anthony McCrory dives out of line on Trent Dunham, so the battle is back on for 2nd. Meanwhile, 5th place, Dilly, it's Dylan Young, that Universal Studios Ford Fusion. That's another driver that is coming off a career year. Dylan Young making the playoffs for the first time in his Hersheys Cup Series career. Finished 3rd overall in the standings with 3 wins last season. And Dylan Young trying to ride that momentum. It was the most competitive I've seen Dylan Young ever since he started here in the Hersheys Cup Series. So we'll see what he can do, and he's actually the lone Ford representative in this field. As a matter of fact, he's the lone Ford. Emmanuel Hartnett was the lone Toyota in this field. We had 2 Lincolns, and then everybody else was a Chevy Camaro or a Chevy SS. Another of those Camaros we're starting to finally see making his way towards the front. Zachary Fitzwater in the 59 out of Fitzwater Australia Racing. Team that's kind of done a little bit of shuffling during the course of the off-season. We'll get to that in a moment. We should follow this because Daniel Gilbert just now making his way around the slower machine of Emmanuel Hartnett, and Hartnett is holding up 2nd place on back, allowing the 4 to get away, which is not exactly a good thing when you're at a restrictor plate track like Daytona. That's holding up that whole outside line. McCrory, McIntosh, Dylan Young, and Dylan Poteet all caught behind the slower Toyota Camry. And even drivers on the inside line having difficulty getting by only so far. 2nd and 3rd have gotten by. Now 4th, 5th, and looks like 6th they're going to clear him coming out of turn 2. And look at just how quickly Kat Batson and Zachary Fitzwater were able to catch back up to the bumper of Daniel Gilbert. Kyle Matthews now getting around Hartnett, trying to catch up to his Retro Racing Enterprise teammate Jessica Shelton. And what is Hartnett doing? Just went down and blocked the 31 of Dylan Poteet. Oh, wait, that's maybe why. We got pit stops right at the halfway point. This race turning into a fuel strategy race. And I'm certain there are a number of drivers that are not in this field here tonight that are down here along pit road, or at least watching this race. Their crew chiefs, taking notes on what they're seeing here tonight that could be applied, during pole day qualifying and the Gatorade duels, as well as in the Daytona 500 itself. Now, there's no points on the line, so staying out doesn't get you a bonus point for leading the lap, but Dylan Young and Anthony McCurry decided to stay out an extra lap. They will more than likely come to pit road this time, I would assume. Everybody else came to pit road on the last lap, and here comes the Universal Studios Florida Ford and the what's it called? I just lost what it was called. Is it Death Wish Coffee? Lost the sponsorship. Doggone it. Manuel Hartnett also on pit road, and here you see coming off of pit lane, Daniel Gilbert. No friends with him, though. They're lined up between the 70 and the 59. They could work together to catch back up. Jake Baskinger trying to catch. Shelton, they're all separated right now. Keith Batson just now leaving pit road, as is James McLeod and Cole Baker. Batson may have actually lost the draft as well, and that might be why he's so far back. And here's Dylan Young leaving pit road. See if he gets out ahead of the 4. I don't think he's going to. 4 just now in the middle of turns 1 and 2. It's a question of whether the 2 can get up to speed quickly enough. Dylan Young, a Florida native with a Florida sponsorship, wanting to win here tonight at a Florida track. And he will get out ahead of Daniel Gilbert. So staying out that extra lap, gaining that track position certainly did help Dylan Young. But I would watch right here. I think this is where you're going to see a lot of movement and a lot of speed. Cat Batson, Zachary Fitzwater, Anthony McCurry, and Jake Baskinger all hooked up together. And the old adage is the more friends you have, the more speed you're going to have at a super speedway. And right now, these 4 are in a pack. They are going to be running down the 4 and the 2 very quickly. Dallas McIntosh and Jessica Shelton have now hooked up together. It's like Kyle Matthews and Trent Dunham have done the same. You've got 2 two-car tandems here trying to run down a pack that's about to become 6 race cars. And with that being said, it doesn't look very promising for them to be able to catch back up to this lead pack. We may have only 6 drivers up in this lead group that are going to have a shot of maybe winning this race. The other thing I would kind of question too is when Daniel Gilbert as the leader and most of the rest of the field came to pit road, it was coming to the completion of lap 12. That was the halfway point. Are these drivers going to be on fumes when they come to the checkered flag? Was 12 laps about the maximum they could go? And if that's the case, Anthony McCurry and Dylan Young, who were able to stretch it 1 extra lap than everybody else, they may be in the catbird seat if it comes down to fuel strategy at the end of this race. McCurry going to go to the race lead, number 61, former champion and former Clash winner, trying to continue to make Hersheys Cup Series history and becoming the very first repeat Clash winner. The only other former winner, the defending winner, Keith Batson, the other 2 former winners of the Clash. The very first Clash winner was Joshua Sakuli. We'll be seeing him during Speed Weeks as he's in a Hersheys Cup Series ride this season. And also Nathan Hudson won the 3rd annual Clash at Daytona. He now is in a full-time ride in the Pizza Hut X Series, driving for Swigley Motorsports. Got a car up ahead, that is Cole Baker. And that is a teammate to the 61 of Anthony McCurry, so you got to wonder, will he try playing some defense for the race leader? Not sure there'd be much he could do, though, because the top 6 are all single file in a freight train. Although Baskinger is going to move up high, now moves back down low. I think he's rather lucky Dylan Young let him in, and I think he baited Dylan Young. He moved up. Dylan Young thought, okay, I'll go with you. And then Baskinger went down to the inside of the 18. Dylan Young found out, uh-oh, I got to get down to the inside. And I think it was Cat Batson was already down below him. So Jake Baskinger, a little cat and mouse game there with Dylan Young, and Batson got away with the last lap. Now Fitzwater and Young still trapped behind the number 18, who I think if he's able to merge with these guys, I think he is up to speed. So he could end up playing a factor if he merges up here with this lead group. He's a lap down, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to in any way factor into the finish of this race. Meanwhile, Jake Baskinger seems pretty content for the moment to ride behind Anthony McCurry. Cat Tellier right there in the 70. Got Kat Tellier hasn't gone to victory lane since season 4 in the Hersheys Cup Series, when she went to victory lane twice, sweeping road courses at Infineon and Watkins Glen. Last season was not exactly a season to write home about for the 70 team, finishing 23rd in the points. Did have those 3 poles, though, that locked her into this event. Jake Baskinger also was a driver that struggled most of the season. He ended up finishing 19th in the points. He did have a win, but that win ended up coming during the playoffs, so it wasn't enough to lock him into the playoffs. However, the ride that he's driving, the number he's driving, was actually driven by Garrett Sidner and did make it into the Final Four to compete for the championship. Sidner now going to be running down in the Pizza Hut X Series as he's seemingly entering into a state of semi-retirement. This next time by, when they hit the line, there are going to be 5 laps to go, and right now there's only 4 cars up in this lead pack. I thought Fitzwater, Young, and Baker would be able to work together, but not really the case at this current point in time, and they are losing touch with the top 4, who for the moment were single file. Now they're going to start going double wide, and that could end up playing into the favor of 5th and 6th place, but then they go back to single file again. So now comes the cat and mouse game of, if the 38 steps out of line, will the 70 go with him? If the 70 steps out of line, will the 4 go with her? Got to start making some alliances, and none of these drivers up here at the front are in any way teammates to the other. McCurry's out of Seth Cole Baker Motorsports, Baskinger out of Flying Aces Racing, Daniel Gilbert out of Michael Norman Motorsports, and Kat Tellier out of KEB Racing Enterprises. So no alliances in any way of these top 4. Of course, Kat Tellier trying to get Lincoln its second Clash win, trying to make it a back-to-back wins for the KEB Racing Enterprises in this event. And Daniel Gilbert right there trying to get Camaro its first win in Hersheys Cup Series history, albeit non-points. Gilbert to the inside, but there's no drafting help. There's no way he can get a run on Baskinger down into 3, and he has no choice but to tuck back in line. Another car up ahead these drivers will have to deal with, and I'm assuming that might be Emmanuel Hartnett's Toyota again. No, it's not. It's actually a couple of drivers that had lost the draft as well before the pit stops began. James McLeod in the 51, and the defending winner, Keith Batson, as Dylan Poteet is on pit road. Is that a regularly scheduled stop for the 31? It doesn't look like it. Might be something that went wrong mechanically on that machine. Tough break for the pole sitter. And boy, this is going to be interesting. This might be exactly what Jake Baskinger and Daniel Gilbert were looking for, was traffic to kind of maybe box the 61 in. McLeod and Batson have no alliances with any of these top 3, but they could very well be the deciding factor into who's going to be taking this checkered flag, as it's like Batson has lost the top trio, and there are 2 laps to go here in the Clash. Chevy, SS, and Camaro. Curry gonna go to the outside. Gonna try anyway to get around Keith Batson, and Baskinger fills the hole on the inside line. Is Gilbert gonna go with him? He's looking low, he's down there. Now he moves back up. Where's he gonna give the drafting help? Curry pulls even with the help of the 4, and now Baskinger is going to get some help from Daniel Gilbert. Jake Baskinger to the race lead. Gilbert battling side by side with McCurry for second, and now Baskinger to the inside of Batson, trying to stop Gilbert from getting a run on him as the white flag is out here at Daytona. One more time around, can Baskinger hold off Gilbert and McCurry? Baskinger moves up. Gilbert might try and get to the inside. Baskinger throws the block. You got the 51 of McLeod just ahead. What's Baskinger going to do with him? He's got to be smart here. McCurry going to look low. No help. Gilbert looks low. Does McCurry go with him, or is McCurry going to help the 38 up top? He stays up top. Gilbert has no friends down low to help get the run. And that could have just done it. Gilbert, with no help to get that run on the inside line into 3, has to settle for second. Jake Baskinger is going to come to the start-finish line. He'll start off the season with a win. He wins the Clash here tonight at Daytona. Jake Baskinger. Is this a sign of things to come? Last season was the first year that Baskinger missed making the playoffs in the Hersheys Cup Series chase for the championship, ending his streak at 4 straight seasons. He did get that one victory, as I mentioned, but kind of small consolation. Now we're seeing seems a new invigorated Jake Baskinger. And what a way to start out the year with the win here tonight in the Clash at Daytona. Standings, I believe, are official. I think they were waiting for McLeod and Batson to cross the line. I think they still are, and now the race is going to be official, with Baskinger taking the checkered flag. Daniel Gilbert will have to settle for second, but a good showing there for Camaro nonetheless, bringing it home in 2nd, 5th, and 7th. So nicely done. Looks like the Camaros can definitely hold their own against the SS's. Anthony McCurry was looking for history to become the first repeat winner of the Clash. He'll have to settle for the final spot on the podium. Cat Batson, great run there in 4th. Zachary Fitzwater finished in 5th. Dylan Young 6th. Dallas McIntosh 7th. Then it was Shelton Matthews and Trent Dunham, your top 10. James McLeod was just ahead of the leader when the checker flag waved. Finished the last car on the lead lap. Finishing a lap down were the cars of Keith Batson and Cole Baker. And apparently we had some issues on pit road, it would seem, maybe during the cycle of pit stops. Dylan Poteet, Kev Shearer, and Emmanuel Hartnett all finishing 12 laps down. Not certain what was up with that, but obviously something went wrong with those 3 machines. The lucky news for them is that it was a non-points event, but obviously not the showing that any of them were looking for in tonight's event. But that is going to do it here tonight for our Clash at Daytona. Jake Baskinger joins the likes of Anthony McCreary, Nathan Hudson, Joshua Zakuli, and Keith Batson as a winner of the Clash. And what a way to start off Speed Weeks. Up next, it's going to be pole day qualifying here from Daytona. The Hersheys Cup Series drivers will be vying for the front row. Then we'll be having our Gatorade duels that will determine the rest of the Daytona 500. And then we kick things off with points on the line. It'll be the Tax Slayer Truck Series first race, followed by the Pizza Hut X Series debut race of the season. And then we cap it all off with the granddaddy of them all, the 6th annual running of the Hersheys Cup Series Daytona 500. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Clash. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. And we will see you guys next time as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.